Hope you're having a lovely day and you're searching for another recipe. This is the Majestic Cupcakery.
Hi, welcome back. Today's video is all about this super easy turtle. I've basically cooked here a 6-inch cake but in a domed pan. I'll put the link in the description below to where you can get it from. I've just split it in half and I'm just filling it with a bit of vanilla buttercream. Spreading that on out just so it's nice and even. Then going on in with the top. It's easier to start with it in a domed pan than having to carve it, but if you don't have this domed pan you can always carve it into the shape if you'd like. I'm just going ahead and using more of that vanilla buttercream to just crumb coat and lock in all those tiny crumbs. You just want to put that in the fridge for about half hour to firm up. While it's in the fridge, I've just covered my board with a bit of fondant. I've used blue food colouring and just marbled it in to create the effect. And I've just got a big ball of white fondant and I'm just adding this Wilton pink food colouring to it. This is going to cover the dome so it creates the body colour of the turtle. You want to then just roll that out so it's nice and thin and big enough to cover over your domed cake. Now I'm just bringing my dome back and covering it with that pink fondant I've just made. Smoothing it out with my hands just to get into all those little creases. Taking a smoother just to make it even softer on the outside. This doesn't need to be perfect, it's going to be covered with the shell. Then I'm just using a knife to cut off a little bit of excess. You want to leave about ½ centimetre around the edge and I'll show you why in a minute. The ½ centimetre is so you can tuck it underneath the cake. This is so when it's laid down, you're not going to see any cake peeking underneath. I've then just got this little tool here and I'm just making sure it's stuck nice and tight to the cake. Just going to put that there on the board. And I've got a bit more of the pink fondant that I made earlier. And I'm just rolling that into a ball. This is going to form the head, so I'm just using the palm of my hand to carve into that circle a little bit to create this like teardrop shape. This is going to make the turtle head look more like a turtle head. I'm just sticking that on down underneath the body of the shell. So I've just got some white fondant here and I'm adding a little bit of the pink fondant to it. This is just for the shell, but I don't want it to be too white. I just want it to have a little tint to it. Then I'm just rolling that on out. Nice and thin. You want it to be really thin. I've then got a 6-inch tin and I'm going to cut around that. The reason I've got a 6-inch tin is because that's the size of the dome cake, so when I fold the shell over it, it should fit nice and perfect. So yeah, just cutting that out nice and neatly, and then peeling away the excess. The tin comes, Then I've just got the round ball tool and I'm just going to thin out the edges and create like a ruffle effect. Just using a little circle motion just to fan out the edges. Then got the pointy tool, don't know what it's called, and just going around the edge of that just to line it out a bit. This is just for pattern really. Doesn't need to be too neat. Once you wrap it over you're not going to notice if it's a circle or not. I've then got this cutter from PME. I'll leave that in a link in the description as well. I'm pressing very lightly with this. I don't want to cut all the way through, I just want to imprint so I can then go over it with my tool. You can see I did try to freehand it, did not work, so if you don't have the cutter it's going to be a bit hard for you, but you could always figure it out. I'm then just going in with the pointy tool and just going over them lines. I don't want them to be too straight, I want them to be more realistic, so I'm just going over it and making it a bit rounder and less sharp. I've then laid it over the dome and flicked up the edges a tiny little bit just for character. Again with more of the pink fondant, I'm just rolling that out and this is going to make the little tiny feet for the turtle. So I'm making like a swoopy motion and then I'm going to cut it like a scallop type of cut just to create the shape I'm going for. You want to make sure you've got 2 of them for each side. Placing them nicely on the side of the cake where you think they need to go. Then using my tool just to really stick that down so there's no gaps between the cake and the fondant. Add a few lines just for detail. A little circle of white fondant for the eye. Along with the little blue one. You don't have to have it with a blue eye, you can always change it to a green eye, brown eye, whatever you want. Then a little bit of black on top of that. Then rolled out a really thin sausage piece of black fondant just for a little eyelash. I just wanted it to look a bit cuter. And then an even smaller piece for another eyelash. Using my tool just to make sure it's in the right place of where I want it. And then a tiny dot of white just in the corner of the eye. I've then got this dusky pink edible tint by Sugar Flare and I'm using this to dust on the shell. It just gives it a lot more character and it just looks super cute. So you just want to get that all in the little crevices. You don't have to be neat with it. Obviously I've gone for a pink theme here, but if you wanted to do a blue one, a green one, a yellow one, whatever you wanted, just go ahead and do that, it looks super cute too. And this is the finished look, this super cute easy turtle. I hope you all liked it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!